The movie has almost no dialogue. So how do you work your characters through physicality instead of speech?
I think that it means that when you arrive on set, you really have to know your character already. So it means you have to do a lot of prep and research on how you're going to construct your character. And I think because when there's dialogue in a film, when there's a heavy dialogue script, it often gives you the chance to build your character from there, and it gives you a lot of information about it to yourself and to the audience. But one of the amazing things about this script and the fact that there isn't that much dialogue, it was very much left to us to go away and come up with our own characters and make our own decisions about how we wanted to play it and how they would react in certain situations. So I think there was a very interesting dynamic to it all.
How about you?
Yeah, I think Chris did is, I think realistically the situations that these soldiers would have been in, you wouldn't be stopping to kind of chit-chat a bunch. I think he's made it so that each bit of dialogue hits you so much harder, it's more meaningful because there isn't so much of it. And I think it makes it interesting for us because the tension that you build between the characters with them disagreeing and the kind of how their relationship changes through the film. A lot of that is built in silences and looks across rooms, and I think it kind of makes it all the more interesting to kind of get to explore that rather than just disagreeing in a vocal argument maybe.
Yeah, I think one of the amazing things about the way Chris directs is that he does use a look or an expression where maybe some directors would use 10 or 20 words, and I think that's an amazing skill.
When you were rehearsing, did you choreograph the eye lines and the eye sights and the reaction shot because there's no dialogue, so it's like
yeah, I think the thing was Chris has this amazing way of creating this world around you while you're acting that it just helps you so much. It requires so much less acting, and I think he bases so much of the stuff off natural reactions, and I think you're being in a scenario that he's created for you is always going to be completely different to rehearsing in a studio. So you end up looking at each other like you found each other in the room for the first time, which obviously you would be, rather than knowing where the person is before you're actually looking at them.
Yeah, I think the eye lines were usually pretty natural because Chris wants to capture the reality of the situation, so there's not a whole lot of marks on walls and stuff like that. Obviously you have to use a bit, but I think for the most part he was just trying to capture the moment of reality with the characters.
Also, your characters, I think, are a little younger than yourself because the soldiers were like 16, 18 at that time. So do you have to look back and say, oh, look, when I was 18 or 16, I could have been a soldier in this situation. So I think it's hard to think that, right?
Yeah, well, Alex, I think, was supposed to be about my age. But I think the reality kind of being there, you were very aware of, what these people... we went through like some bad weather and temperature or whatever, and I think everyone was very aware that in comparison to what these people would be going through is obviously nothing. And I think being there and kind of being on the beach and telling this story and finding out more about the story and imagining just how young so many of these people were is crazy.
Yeah, I think it stole a lot of childhoods off quite young men. They had to grow up so quickly. They were forced to grow up in such a stressful situation, and it's a really horrible and hard thing to think about as in the blessed positions we are in.
Okay, well, thank you very much,
guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck with the picture.
Thanks.
And great performance.